I'm Jo from Word Forest, and I'm here with my husband Rob. We've been at COP now for 2.5, 3 days, and how are you finding it, Rob?
It's good in places. There's been some interesting stuff, and there's been some stuff which has been a little frustrating, and it's good to be here and to be involved, and I think one is just feeling a little deflated by the lack of the stuff being made at a high level, government level, because it just seems like there's things we all need to happen, and yet it's not happening at the top level.
So what's been interesting? Let's start with the positive.
Oh, interesting. There was a lovely data visualization in the planetarium by a film called Climate Crimes, where they were able to trace particulates and different particulate shapes and characteristics to give you a signature of where those particulates came from. So you can then attribute pollution to particular places, which may be useful for criminal evidence if you actually want to prosecute someone for climate crimes. And had another really nice just way of putting things, that as pollution travels from north to south, degrading this environment in the south, the migrants will be travelling from south to north.
Yeah, that was a good one, and it was that phrase that we heard at the end of that one, wasn't it? That it's about the trillions of pounds versus the number of deaths.
Yes, that was a little despondent. That the chap who actually made the film said, well, actually there's hundreds and hundreds of oil industry delegates here, and it all comes down to negotiation of trillions of dollars versus how many deaths you're ready to accept for them.
But apart from that, what I liked about that was also talking about how the media can help, and they were talking about how that climate justice, climate talks, talking about the climate should be just across all programmes. And she was talking about how if you got it into soap operas, you got it into all regular television, it was just then part of our world. And that's what I feel is changing now. That run up to COP, you're hearing so much more about climate. It's not now so niche as it used to be.
Yes.
So that's been a good start. I particularly like the one we went to last night that was about the rainforests and about how they're tracking the sound in rainforests, so that they can identify all the sounds, that they can then match them to animals, but then they can also find the chainsaws, so the rangers can avert the chopping down of the illegal rainforest. But what really shocked me was that 59% of the rainforest deforestation is illegal.
Yes.
Which is a huge amount to conquer, when it's all very well saying we're going to end reforestation, but if you can't tackle the illegal bit at the moment, how are you going to tackle all of it?
That did seem a bit like an oxymoron. We're going to stop rainforest deforestation by 2030, and over 50% of it is illegal, so we're going to ban the illegal stuff. I didn't quite understand how that's going to work, since illegal stuff is already banned. But what I did like was the fact that they could not only identify different species and track where different species were in the rainforest, they could also tell before the chainsaws started up or shotguns or motorbikes arrived, from the reactions of the animals, that something was going to happen.
Yeah.
They could tell when there was a tiger walking through, and they could tell when there was someone walking through with a chainsaw, because the calls of the animals changed. So I thought that was really cool. I thought, wow, that's neat.
And I think that's what's inspirational. It's the fact that there's a lot going on that we don't hear about, and there are lots of people tackling the climate, and it would just be lovely if we could pull it together. And I think the big thing that stuck in my mind from the talk today went on about tea, was that one lady said, we've got all these different companies creating sustainable and doing the research, and we've got to share the data. We've got to stop being in competition with one another, and we've got to share our knowledge really quickly, because what I feel isn't coming through very quickly in a lot of these talks is the urgency.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we haven't got years for this. We've got to start making the change now.
Yeah, that was interesting, because where one company might develop a way of growing tea sustainably, and be able to go, oh, whoopie-doo, we got sustainable tea, that actually they need to share those techniques with the other companies, which is a bit of a difficult paradigm because you put a lot of money into that IP. But in terms of keeping tea being grown, and they were saying that Christian Aid estimated that by 2050 it may not be possible to grow tea in most of these places, which is quite, as a tea drinker, I find quite shocking. So
you need to switch to hot water.
May have to.
Well, that's our overview of COP so far. We've got another day to go tomorrow, and we just hope that. Well, I think the key to COP and the key to everything is we just keep on going, and we have to remember it's the people that are going to make the changes, not the governments. And we can't get despondent. It's just we've got to just keep going. And there's a lot of what COP has shown me is there's thousands and thousands of people who are on the same path as we are. Thank you.